the woman was terrified to find. Every time she arrived at a different station, she would see the same old lady, even when the train was speeding forward. That old lady kept appearing outside the window. The old lady seemed to be warning her about something. Daisy could not see clearly and took a few steps forward, but the old lady stepped back a few steps. Daisy told her to stand still and wait for her, but every time she tried to get closer, the old lady would immediately step back, and always kept at a distance where she could not see or hear clearly. Daisy was getting angry. This old lady was obviously messing with her, so Daisy turned and left without looking back. But after walking for a few minutes, she turned and found the old lady seemed to be following her, and no matter how fast Daisy ran, the old lady could instantly catch up. Just as Daisy did not know what to do, a hiking ant happened to pass by. Daisy felt like she saw a savior, and quickly asked her for help. She asked her to go ask the old lady in the distance if she needed any help. After all, in this barren mountain wilderness, it was very unsafe for an old person to be here. The ant was also kind-hearted. She agreed right away without hesitation. Soon she came to the old lady's side, but strangely, after the old lady said a few words, the ant looked at Daisy in horror, then screamed and ran away like crazy. Daisy was terrified by this scene, and quickly ran away from the spot as fast as she could. Then she reached a small town not far away, but when she looked back, the old lady was still following her. Daisy was so scared she rushed into a nearby inn. The crowded room gave her a temporary sense of safety, so she quickly told everyone. She said she was being followed by a strange old lady, and asked if anyone in town knew her. The innkeeper looked and said, this was a stranger, but she looked quite old. She probably meant no harm to Daisy. As he spoke, he warmly invited her inside, and said if there was any misunderstanding they could clear it up face to face. However, when the innkeeper walked outside, the same thing happened again. After hearing what the old lady said, the innkeeper first looked at Daisy in horror, then ran off like a madman. This really scared Daisy badly. She immediately decided to stay at the tavern that night, and not leave again. But after one night passed, the old lady was still standing at the door without leaving. Daisy then directly booked another 7 days. She wanted to see how long this old lady could hold on, but by the 5th day, the hostess wanted to kick her out. Because of Daisy's presence, the old lady was always standing at the door. It seriously hurt their business, and that day after the innkeeper spoke with the old lady, he vanished into thin air, and never came back. Daisy had no choice but to take a ride home. When she got home, she told her mother about the old lady, and this strange old lady had already seriously affected her life. So her mother suddenly had a clever idea. She thought of a perfect way to drive the old lady away. The two just needed to stay on the phone. When her mother got close, she could play the old lady's words for her to hear, and as Daisy's mother, no matter what the old lady said, she could not be bewitched. So her mother walked toward the old lady, but as she got closer, Daisy found the phone signal got worse and worse. She could not hear the old lady and her mother talking at all. She realized something was very wrong, and shouted for her mother to come back, but it was already too late. Her mother looked at her in horror, then ran away like a lunatic. Daisy chased her for a long time before she caught up, but by then her mother had already gotten into a taxi, and was staring at Daisy with extreme disgust, then quickly left the town without looking back. From then on, her mother vanished into thin air. No matter what Daisy tried, she could not find her. Daisy also realized this old lady seemed to have some terrifying superpower, so she went to the Bureau of Supernatural Affairs, hoping they could help solve the problem. The woman there was very professional. After learning about the case, she immediately arranged for an ultra-high-definition camera to capture the old lady's image, but when they opened the photos, they were stunned. So she went to the Bureau of Supernatural Affairs, hoping they could help solve the problem. The woman there was very professional. After learning about the case, she immediately arranged for an ultra-high-definition camera to capture the old lady's image, but when they opened the photos, they were stunned. No matter how close they photographed the old lady, the image was always blurry. But after calculations, they found that the distance between the old lady and Amy was always 73 yards, which was exactly 66.7 meters. That was the golden distance where you could not see clearly with your eyes, and could not hear with your ears. It seemed the only way to deal with this mysterious old lady was to send in the most powerful armed forces. At this point, Daisy was worried. Would the armed forces also be captured? But the woman calmly replied,
My staff have full psychic training. We have telepathic dampeners, mesmeric shielding, and necklaces of silver and salt in case of witchcraft, don't worry.
This time it would be foolproof. Then she gave the order. Hundreds of special forces instantly swarmed out. As they gradually surrounded the old lady, the woman reminded them, never talk to the old lady, just capture her directly. But suddenly all the soldiers froze. After hearing the old lady's words, they all stared straight at Daisy. Even the woman wearing headphones suddenly looked serious, turned toward Daisy, and immediately announced retreat, then left without looking back. No matter how much Daisy screamed, it was useless. This experience left Daisy in total despair. Since she could not get rid of the old lady, she might as well try accepting her. After all, she would not directly hurt her. So Daisy pretended not to see the old lady, and began living her own life. The two of them lived together this way, day after day in a strange harmony, until one day when Daisy was eating with friends, she suddenly understood the reason for the old lady's existence, because she saw a familiar face. It was the man man running for president. His name was Jeff. A doctor from the future had once told her, this Jeff would be elected president in 2025, and 2 years later, he would launch a nuclear war that would destroy the world. But thinking of this, Daisy almost laughed. She immediately ended her date with her friend, saying she had something more important to do. Of course, she did not forget to bring along the mysterious old lady.
Come on. We've got work to do.
Soon Daisy arrived at Jeff's campaign office. She said she was willing to volunteer for free, serving tea, mopping floors, doing anything. Who would not want free labor? Just like that, Daisy smoothly entered Jeff's team, and just as she expected, Jeff's approval rating kept climbing. Eventually he became the top candidate for president. Finally, the last campaign event arrived. Jeff's speech would be held in this stadium. Daisy came with the logistics team. Soon Jeff's rehearsal began. Daisy then said she needed the restroom, but turned and climbed over the rail heading to the field. The staff told her to stop approaching, but Daisy ignored them. She just raised her phone toward Jeff, and turned on the rangefinder at the same time. The surrounding SWAT officers also warned her not to act recklessly, and ordered her to stop and not move, but Daisy still ignored them. She only stared at the distance reading on the screen, until the distance between her and Jeff reached 73 yards. Only then did she finally stop, and in the blink of an eye, the old lady appeared right beside Jeff. As the old lady gestured and spoke, Jeff stared at Daisy like he lost his soul, then turned and ran like crazy. Even 200 SWAT officers could not catch up with him. Then Jeff announced to reporters he would permanently withdraw from the presidential race, and told everyone not to bother him again. Then he disappeared from public view, and was never seen in public again. Just like that, Daisy relied on her high intelligence, and used the old lady's superpower to successfully save the world. In the blink of an eye, 40 years passed. Daisy had become an old grandmother with white hair. Her life was near its end, but no one knew she had once saved the world. Yet just before her death, she was shocked to find that the old lady finally broke through the 73-yard limit, and started slowly walking toward her. Just as the old lady was about to turn her head, Daisy quickly recalled all the decades of her past, and the next moment, she found herself in a barren wasteland. Looking ahead, the woman in the distance was her younger self. At this moment, Daisy finally understood. The mysterious old lady she kept seeing was actually her future self, and now she had gained the power to make people disappear. So she kept gesturing toward Daisy, trying hard to get her attention, because only in this way could they complete the loop of saving the world together.